So I first met Paul via the 24/7 support line. He'd been given our numbers by the hospital. He called us for a little bit of support and a little bit of help.
Good to see you.
So Paul, just tell me, how did you find the Swallows charity?
I found the Swallows through the Macmillan care team at Mount Vernon. So that Vernon's hospital.
And he was telling me about his treatment that he was about to go through. And he wanted a little bit of help and a little bit of advice of what it was really going to be like from a patient's perspective about radiotherapy.
When I found out or started to get a sniff that head and neck radiotherapy was somewhat different, what's different about this? How can I prepare? What more can I do? What's in my control?
Did you get the answers you needed to know at that point?
I wanted the truth.
And he really needed to understand what was going to be in front of him so that he could be prepared for what was about to hit his body.
And when I got on the phone to you, Chris, you didn't mince your words. You told me exactly how and why.
And it prepared him ready for a fight that he was willing to take on. So Paul was diagnosed with throat cancer, and radiotherapy was a real big scare for him. The first week, everything was fine, like most people going through radiotherapy. But one of the things he really started struggling with was mucositis. So I contacted THOR Laser, and the next thing I get an email and a phone call from the CEO to say, we want to help Paul. Can you tell me why it was important that THOR helped and supported Paul through his treatment?
We took up the offer to support Paul, partly because he's local, and he was really in the sweet spot of where we feel we can make the greatest difference. And I was always hoping that it would be easy for a patient to treat themselves in a hospital environment. This is, an important thing. We're not at home use technology just yet.
So, right, settle myself in.
Traditionally, this treatment is delivered by the health professionals, but we've designed the lollipop so that the patient can hold it in their own mouth and control their own treatment in terms of treatment comfort.
So I'm going to start with the lollipop, just to give my throat a bit of a boost, if you like.
Paul allowed us to watch him doing his own treatment. And like I say, you don't need a specialist nurse, you don't need anyone fully trained on this. So we literally watched Paul do his 5-minute treatment. And I couldn't believe how simple it was.
I've woken up with quite a sore throat, if I'm honest, feeling a little bit low as well. And on top of that, the fatigue is kicking in to some degree. So
we've just developed this light-emitting lollipop, and whilst we hear interesting data from research hospitals, there's nothing quite like meeting people actually going to use it.
And, so it's just really simple device. I turn it on, and I set it to 1 minute from a timer point of view. It's got all different times here, and I set it to 2.5 hertz.
But I think it's best for patients. I want to see them use it and what their experience was. And it worked like a dream. And then he told us about some other sores he had elsewhere, and we were able to treat that too. And
then really I just get comfortable, hygienically put a plastic sheath over the top, and then really test my the size of my mouth. So it'll turn itself off after a minute. I'll turn it on.
In a nutshell, photobiomodulation works by increasing cellular energy and by reducing the inflammatory process. There was a moment in Paul's treatment where it became clear to me why we do this. I mean, it's actually quite emotional for anybody who's supporting somebody going through radiation and head and neck cancer, and to not just think from an academic point of view about why this is important with all the statistics, which is true, but actually to be there and to see it and to experience it was fantastic.
I think it goes off, so obviously remove this from a hygiene point of view straight away, and then I always wipe it down.
And I was particularly keen to meet him myself. It's been useful to us, first of all in that we've seen firsthand the lollipop design working like a dream, better than we could have hoped. And it's been great to have his feedback. He's so articulate about how he's feeling and how his symptoms are going. And he tried it, had instant relief with it. That was priceless.
So, shower head, which I think explains itself. What I do with this is, again, it's 1 minute, always 1 minute on with each dosage, if you like, 2.5 hertz. So I start with a high up, 1 minute high up here. And interestingly, I have seen, since using this, a speeding up of the recovery of my facial paralysis. So my lip, before I started this treatment, was down here. This is much lower, and this is now straightening out. It's actually speeding up the recovery of the facial palsy as a result of the cancer and surgery. So I do 1 minute there, and then really I just do 1 minute, wherever I feel I need some treatment. Got some sores here, so I would do 1 minute here. I'd do a minute where I've got some swelling here. I do one there, and I do one under here, and I go around and under here, and then really just to, because there's saliva glands and taste buds and all that sort of stuff all over your mouth, so I just want them all to receive the benefits of the PDN treatment, and it all gets a minute. Everything gets a minute.
Historically, this treatment time has been anything from 15 minutes to 3/4 of an hour, but now we can do the whole mouth in 1 minute.
And then this one, which I'm not going to do myself now because I can't do this myself. Basically, look, there you go, so you've got a much more direct beam. If that was a sore there, I could put that on the sore for a minute. Because I can't see that far into my throat, my girlfriend helps me with that.
My main goal would be that every patient that's going through radiotherapy, one of these machines are in the radiotherapy department, and this is part of the pathway.
The sores in my cheek almost disappeared within 2 treatments from THOR, and never came back. The swelling here, which is actually from the treatment, that also goes up and down, but usually goes down after a THOR treatment. The bottom lip was almost fully recovered, and this was down here, and it has certainly lifted. I'm now hoping.
And I have to say, he was one of the most inspirational guys and strongest guys I've ever seen going through radiotherapy and his treatment.
We chose to work with Swallows because they have by far the best network of head and neck cancer patients. And this is a tremendous resource for us, and they're so well connected. I couldn't think of anywhere better.